And today we're looking to talk about how to get a loan in Nigeria without collateral. Okay, and today we have Mr. Tunji Olalekan, co-founder and CEO of Lendha, that's Lendha, and he's going to walk us through that and shed some more light on a lot of things we're also curious about. So welcome to Everyday Money Matters, Tunji.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So the Nigeria is pretty tight now. The economy is tight. Inflation is high.
Things are tough.
Yeah, prices of goods and services, is really on the up, and incomes are barely moving. So from your perspective, how is the current economic situation affecting the need for loans? In Nigeria, are more people borrowing, out of survival than strategy?
Yes, the cost of things have gone high. You said it.
Yeah.
That means the purchasing power is very, very low right now. If your salary is 200,000, you could fill your house with foodstuff with 200,000. You might not be able to. You fill 1/3 of that place with 200,000 now. And your salary is still the same, or your income is still the same.
Yeah.
And now we've seen a lot of people trying to borrow money. We've seen an increase in borrow for rent. Of course, their house rent.
Yes.
For rent.
Yes.
For rent, school fees, even just to keep their business flowing. And that's the only way people are getting money from business and salary.
And so, as someone working in credit every day, how do you see the inflation and naira instability impacting loan repayments? Repayment rates or generally, lending behavior?
Like we said, let me go into finance a bit. Things like operating expenses has increased, but income is still the same. We have transportation expenses that has increased. You have to pay more to transport your goods from this place to the other place. And this has reduced people's capacity. But what we have done so far is we try to partner with people to understand what their business need. I think there are several times that we have to restructure the payment structure for people. That means to ensure that we give them longer duration to make the payment instead of the shorter. So that way we reduce the amount they are paying piecemeal, and that way it comes from the new business capacity that they have to be able to pay back. So it's reduced drastically. I think a lot of people are now taking loans to pay loan.
Wow.
So you borrow money from your friend and your friend wants our money back. So you now collect money from someone else to pay your friend. So just to buy you more time, longer period to pay back.
And that's a long ripple effect on the long run, right?
Yeah, it is.
You might probably be doing that for a while till you get a break.
Oh yes, I've told a friend of mine I just told him to stop. Just stop first. You need to think. You need to sit back and think. If your business can afford to do some things before, you need to think back. Like, you can't do that right now. That's the new reality. If you could power on your gen from morning till night, now you can't do that anymore. Just come with the new reality. Instead of you cutting costs, but you can increase your income. Your salary, and do something else as well. That way you don't have just one place to
source of
income. Even I think everybody is telling everyone like you can do something else, you can get something else. That's true.
And it brings me to this which is what we were talking about right earlier on. So Kayode, I would like your opinion on this as well. So if you bring it to someone now that let's work with your friend, for example, that you mentioned, right? And there was nobody like you to tell him to stop, right? And he keeps on going, and overall he starts owing, right? So there's this, we've heard the horror stories of how people have been actually harassed, defamed, for them to pay back. Is that part of the What do you think? Why do you think Nigeria's credit space has actually gotten to that? To be?
I think it started because access to credit on phone was without a structure.
Okay, without a structure. Okay.
I think the government is working on a lot of structure right now with FCCPC, NDPR, and all to ensure that consumers are protected. And to think about it, loans is not our open culture.
Okay.
In a place whereby you won't tell me you've taken a loan. If I see you buy a car, you won't tell me you took a loan to buy the car. You say like, "Na God do."
Yeah. Yes.
But in the Western world,
you go wash them on top.
In the Western world, people, if you pay cash for something, people think like, "What's wrong with you? How do you pay full cash for an item?"
They even discourage you to pay full cash. They will try to persuade you to pay, on over a period of time.
Credit.
Yeah.
So these people actually prey on, because you don't want every other person to know that car you bought is on loan. Because you've already said, "Na God do," big man stuff. So that is really what you hear, because there's no structure, there's no protection against the consumer. That this is the kind of way you need to talk to this person. This is the kind of way you need to go with this person. So then we also have on the lender side, on the borrower side, we lack a good financial literacy.
Yeah. Okay.
When you wake up, you just like, "Oh, that government money, I just carry am. Even Nigeria they owe. I go pay on Monday. God will do it." But you start borrowing. So, for example, now if you can take a portion of rice, but because you have a place to get the money fast, you now get a mountain of rice to eat. So that is what really happened. For example, salary now, your salary is 200,000 naira. So why are you going for an item that is above your income? Because we do not have the financial literacy to tell you that you should not take a loan that is above 1/3 of your salary. Borrowing is not bad, but not planning is bad.
Like you said when we're off here, even government borrows. I mean, a lot of very wealthy top 10 businessmen in the world, their companies are owing or they are owing. But the loan structure that we have in Nigeria, is it fair? The credits, what do you call it? The interest that you pay, you are charged on it. Is it one that an average Nigerian will be able to pay back? That is one. Then secondly, what happens where you've taken a loan, you had everything mapped out, then like they say, Nigerian happened to you, and you're unable to genuinely pay back. You had all it took to pay back. In fact, you had 1 year to go, you had serviced it for like 7 months, and the last 5 months,
hell broke loose
to you. And at that point, what do you do? So those two questions.
Okay, the first, the interest rate. If you have to pay some interest weekly, I'll say run. Or like I think you're not different from the people that do the CBX.
Yeah.
If you have to, if you see a rate that you have to pay the rate weekly, it's no brainer, because there is no way you can actually pay that money. There's no way. There is no, except when God comes. We'll clear your. We did this then, so everything has cleared. But I think firstly, before you go into a loan, you need to check the interest rates and you need to understand the repayment structure. I can't say that the interest you're charging this person is much, because I do not know your cost of borrowing.
Okay.
Let's not forget, like the MPR is quite high right now.
Yes, it is.
And that means a lot of people even got a lot of these there are foreign companies that got the fund when I was about 700, and now they are paying at 1,400 or 1,650 or so. So their cost of borrowing could be high, and they want to pay back. They want to recoup their money and be able to get out and pay back. But and a lot of them are unlicensed.
Yeah.
So when you're on license, you could play in everything. You could do a lot of things that's not right. And I think for the interest rates is like it's about you yourself. I feel if we could stop the supply, if supply can stop, if the demand can stop, the supply will moderate.
The demand, I don't think that demand is going to stop anytime soon.
If I tell my friend tell his friend that this is not right. This is you need to talk about the interest. You need to if people start, instead of 10 people applying for the loan, if it turns to 5, if it turns to 6, if it turns to 4, then they will say, oh yes, let's attract new people. Let's reduce our rates. So that,
but while that is a reality, and that's one thing we must consider.
Yeah.
But what then do you say when you know that you might ignore this one, but you have pressing needs? You said earlier on that people need to pay for the basics. You need to pay for your rent. Your salary is delayed. Your teacher is telling you your child will
Cost of transportation has increased, food has increased.
You need to borrow. You do not have a choice.
but you think that majority of people that borrow for right stuff like rent, with who has salary or who has businesses that they are going to pay back, are very small than people that borrow just to play bet.
Oh, really?
To put in CBEX.
Really?
Yes. Because, like, you're telling me to pay this huge interest rates, and I see someone that told me, like, oh, yes, if you put the money here, it will turn 100%. And like, let me quickly borrow to put in that. Or let me borrow to put in bet.
Fact of
That's
what-
fact.
People actually borrow to bet.
Yes.
That's crazy, dude. That's some serious addiction.
Those ones, I don't know. I think they need a blend of psychological evaluation and spiritual,
You have to go there.
Because it's, I don't know if, you understand if I say, it's not ordinary eye. This is the eye of the world.
It can't be because you are borrowing to bet.
How can you borrow to bet? So wait, research shows that people borrow to bet.
Yes.
Do you have the volume of people, the percentage of people that borrow to bet? Do you have that figure in your hand?
I really do not have that figure, but based on our transaction over the years, we've seen so our system flags, and we've built an algorithm to flag some of the behavior of people, and we build our system base to ensure that we can't call the parties that are not involved in the loan. We talk to the person. We want to be a partner with you. That is, for us to be a partner is to ensure that your business grow, not just about paying the loan.
Okay.
That means if your business has 1 million naira and you borrowed 300,000 naira, at the end of the tenure, I want to see 1.3 in your business, not 700, not even 1 million.
Okay.
So that means your business should be able to pay back from the profits of the business, not from the capital of the business.
Okay.
And you see that a lot of things we try to build with customer by ensuring that when we see bets, when we see customer betting, it flags. It usually the person's score. When we see customer, for example, the customer lives in Ikorodu and is always at Lekki every Friday night or every weekend, our system can flag it.
So there's an algorithm built around the behavior
of the person. So it is about ensuring that we want to be your partner. We want to help you to help yourself. And when it comes to your second question, what was it again?
No, I asked about what was that question I asked again? That
You said if a person still has to borrow at the end of the day.
Okay, if the person has on the tenor,
as in if he's unable to
pay. So, for example, if you borrow your friend money, your friend said, "I'm going to give you back tomorrow," and the person is unable to give you back, would you like the person to tell you beforehand, or the person just goes to you? You like the person to tell you, of course. So we always want to understand what's, like I said, we want to be your partner. We want to understand what's going on. A lot of time we even tell you customers that instead of you like, see, let's do a new tenor for you, a longer tenor. There's one person we just finished paying last week. We did a longer tenor for you.
At more interest rates.
Not more interest rates. It's the same amount. We just spread it across.
Okay, you reduce the
Reduce it.
Due to the person's
Because-
earning capacity.
Yes, due to the new earning capacity. Something happened. The person was defrauded
Okay.
Mm.
and lost some of our goods.
Okay.
We want the person to be in business, not just to get our money and just leave. And if the person I think one of the things she wanted to do was to take a loan somewhere else to pay, and I said like, madam, stop.
But a lot of all this, in quotes, loan sharks will tell you that, don't you have a brother I can borrow from? Don't you have a place so that they can get their own money out of your hand?
So the thing about that is people, because like I said, the structure, and we want to build a partner, we want to build a relationship with the person. And people say bad customer, good customer. There is nothing like bad or good. It's just a customer. A good customer now could be a bad customer, but you need to ensure that the person go back to being a good customer.
Okay.
And the bad customer is, we want to understand what's going on. Like, we want the person to be a good customer. The person might not come back, but we want the person to be able to tell the other person to come back. And it is about creating impact. If you think about profit alone, you will not be able to create impact. I'm a Nigerian. I want my fellow Nigerians also to be able to grow. Not that people think about I can grow, I can put my money in one thing today and 100% the following day. I don't know about that God, but God herself doesn't perform magic like that.
Fair enough. So what works is, so let's actually talk about, the question itself, right? So how can, the average Nigerian get a loan without collateral? Like how does that actually play out? You understand?
Okay, collateral per se, in the right sense, traditional collateral is your landed property, your perfected document of your landed property, which has to do CFO. And a lot of our parents do not even have their CFO. And also car documents, a lot of people do not even have that car businesses. So we're building something differently for Africans, which is when you have a business owner, where is their collateral? Where do they put their money into? They point to their stock. So the stock is the collateral, and you have it, you're still using it to sell. So we build a structure to ensure that your stock is your collateral now.
Yeah, but what if you don't have stocks?
I was coming to that.
So a lot of work, and that's cash flow, service-based businesses. You have prospector, you have your businesses that are returning every time. And that's what we use to judge your financial capability or capacity.
So that's what lenders actually...
Yes.
So, if you're not going to be doing the land thing, or...
We use your cash flow.
So it's your cash flow.
Business volumes and
of
sales
the
volume.
business. So this is a business.
It's a business.
Okay. So
for salary earners, I feel I think salary earners are the most fortunate people in Nigeria because
Why?
a lot of
come again, please.
The most fortunate people.
Most fortunate.
Yes.
Salary earners.
Salary earners because
I think we need to talk about that some other time. Go on.
Because you see, salary earners right now, they have a lot of places to get funds for. The traditional banks, and who could give them based on their salary coming in. And I feel if the salary earner goes beyond that, it's probably they're looking for something else. They want money more than their income, basically. And it's different for business owners because business owners, small business owners, mom and pop shop, do not have that opportunity because their income is not regular. 10 naira a year, 2 naira a year, 10 naira a year. So the bank might not be able to say that, this person is
stable, right?
Stable. So a lot of things when it comes to that, that's why we know that's why we are focusing on businesses. To ensure that we create more impact. And guess what? A business owner is paying salary, is paying school fees of their children. So from one business, like 10 people are eating from it.
Yeah, fair enough though. Really, at the end of the day, if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
But So like the average Nigerian now, just the first once they just see an advert, right? I mean, like it starts from there. They see an advert on their phone, on TV, and they just download the apps straight. Once they've seen you can get free loan without interest or whatever it is, right? So what are the things? I know you mentioned one earlier on. What other things should the average person actually look out for to be wary? Do you understand of this lender in this case?
Okay, FCCPC released a list of approved. They have a list of approved companies. So the first thing I tell people to do is check, because like Yoruba would say, a needle that has thread, we don't get lost. So that way you understand that these people will go in line with the guidelines. And I feel like if you download an app and they are so particular about collecting your data than telling you what the interest rate is and the terms of the loan, I think you should run peak race. Because if you're talking about consuming all your contact, they want your contact, they want to farm your contacts, they want to know what you're doing or no. And
yeah, sorry to cut you short. So that's how they get people's numbers, right?
Yes.
And is in the form or what? In the form?
No. When you download the app, you log in and you have to
pick from your contact.
You have to give access for the app to
your contact,
to have access to your contact. So then they pull all your contacts.
Okay. And probably pick your frequently called numbers.
Everybody.
No wonder, and that's crazy though. So go on.
So if you have people like that you've not seen in the last 10 years,
they will know they will know that you're a kidnapper now or you're a killer or something. There's one of my friends, like I had to call him to actually ask what was going on, and I just saw I got one that he was a kidnapper. I got one that was a 419, that the EFCC is looking for him, that he's ill and about to die. Just so many random things. And it's sad that it has to actually get to that. But so before we wrap up, right?
Sorry, I don't know if I could check this in.
Yeah, of course. Go on.
Normally, what is the timeline for before a loan default becomes criminal? Is there any timeline like that in our regulations?
A loan default is not criminal.
Before, because you could be prosecuted for not paying a loan, right?
It's still a civil.
Okay, because it becomes a civil case. Now, there's a word I'm looking for there. Now, what is the timeline? Is there any timeline within regulation and laws that says, okay, if you're unable to meet up your repayment between this period, then you have violated the laws of the land and you should be prosecuted?
I think one of the things is we really do not have law of the land, and it's just like you borrow me money, I borrow you money. If I don't pay back, charge me to court, then the court can resolve the case between us. But when it comes to there's a loan terms and agreement, but you need to be sure of the terms of the loan, read it through first before you accept. So that way it talks about the tenure. And it talks about the grace period. So the tenure, like us at Lendha, we do loans up to 12 months. So the tenure, we understand that sometimes the person might not pay for the month and can actually pay for the subsequent months, and we have a discussion on that one already. And the grace period also, at this time around, we give people grace period.
Okay.
That some days, like, you might not be able to meet up at that time. And that is why it's better to do a monthly loan than to do a weekly or 1 week loan. Do it for a longer duration, give your business time to breathe.
Or your salary to jump in.
And your salary to also breathe.
Now, a quick one here. A listener from the UK, just when we were speaking about loan default, he says it will affect your credit score.
Yes.
Now, how important or applicable is the credit score in Nigeria? When we talk of credit score, do people really consider it?
Yeah, I was going to
yes, that's like okay. We sent the newsletter out last month, and which we told people, like a lot of people registered. We see that majority of people, the reason why we deny them is because they borrowed 10,000 naira probably during COVID period, and they did not pay back, and now we cannot their business is, we cannot risk it with them because their credit history is say that they have an overdue loans. So a lot of people do not understand that we have a credit registry here in Nigeria where all their credit history is being pulled out.
I think we really, a lot of people really need to be more aware, financially aware about their credit scores, because it's not those words are not words we throw around here in this part of the world. And it's also good to know still that organizations and financial organizations actually have a way of rating the credit score. So everyone should try and not borrow. Don't borrow from Peter to people.
I'll tell you, but we have just like 30 seconds to wrap up. I was going to ask some other questions. On
True.
I mean, no time, but no time. No time. We need to go.
No, we'll find it. We'll find another time to discuss. Yeah. So
that credit score is very.
Yeah, it's very, very key. We'll talk about that as well. So we'll have to end the show now, guys. You can always catch up with us on YouTube, on Spotify as well. We look forward to seeing you next week and have fun. Bye.